Hey, welcome to Astrobabble. I am Donna from Donna B Astrology,
I'm Linda from Scallywag Astrology.
and today we are going to be talking about the new moon in Gemini. So happy birthday, Geminis. And while Linda is getting up the chart, I will talk about the moon mansion, which is moon mansion. It is called, oh gosh, I'm gonna slice up this name, Dirishal. Um, and it is called the translation of that is the little star of the great light. And it has the flavor of Mercury and Venus. And it is good for form as well as wisdom, love, affinity, bonds of attraction, friendships. It is not good for crops, and it may make medicine ineffective. So, if for some reason something doesn't work quite why, this might be why. Anywhere during this lunation, and a lunation goes from like literally one full moon to one new moon, or one new moon to one full moon, or an eclipse, or whatever. It's the we call the lunations. They happen every couple of weeks, even though the moon's out the entire time, and that is a lunar thing. A lunation is really the full moon and the new moon.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah, this new moon in Gemini. There's a lot of other planets in Gemini as well, which is nice. I mean, it's got the two benefics that are on either side, so it's a pretty nice aspects when you have when you have the benefics in there with you. And Mercury is in there as well.
Hmm. And Mercury rules Gemini, so it's the ruler of this new moon. So it's with the new moon, so it can assist, which is good. And it's a shame it's not its own term, but whatever. And as Donna said, it's got Jupiter and Venus with it, which is nice. It is being, and it's also conjunct, this new moon's conjunct Venus. They're all at 16 degrees of Gemini. It's being squared by Saturn, so that may kind of slow things down. New moons are about new beginnings, planting seeds, new starts. So, yeah, these things that we want to get a start on may be a little bit delayed. And we have Mars sextiling it, but it's quite a wide sextile. But yes, a lot of planets in Gemini at the moment, or will be at the full
Yeah,
moon, new moon.
and
So
Venus is Cazimi, in the Hellenistic terms, which is nice.
yeah, interesting. Well, shall we have a look? What are we? New moon in Gemini. And we recommend you read or listen to your ascendant sign, not your sun sign or your moon sign when it comes to horoscopes. And if you don't understand why, we have a video that explains that, and we'll put a link to that in the description.
And the moon is out of bounds, so it is way higher than typically the sun goes. So that kind of makes it a little bit renegade. So if you're feeling a little lunar, this is why. And if you are a Gemini rising, this is going to be happening in your first house. And new moons are all about new starts, new beginnings, planting seeds, and cultivating them. So the moon will start to grow from this point. And so when you sow seeds, you are asking for things to grow. And so this would be things that you would do in the first house. This house is the house that relates just to you personally. So if you wanted to, change your wardrobe, this is a great time to do that. Try a new hairstyle, maybe even a new job. This really can encompass things that are new to just you. Jobs typically have something to do with the 10th house, but the first house could be a big change for you. It might be something that you've decided to go for study, or, just anything that changes up, just that you're doing personally for you and yourself. This is
Hmm.
called the home.
Yeah, Saturn in the 10th house of career and public reputation. It may be slower than you first anticipate, or it might be harder than you first anticipate if there is a new job lined up. But even if you're just wanting to have fun and, change that hairstyle and all that, yeah, maybe work's going to be a bit of a killjoy, or a little bit of put a bit of dampener on it maybe. And if you are a Taurus ascendant, this new moon is happening in your second house. The second house is the house of our income and finances. It's our personal finances and also our resources. So those things that assist us. A lot going on in there, new start. So maybe you're thinking about, budgets and how you're handling your money and what you want to achieve. It could be that you're quite fortunate in this area at the time with both benefics there, Jupiter and Venus. And Venus is conjunct this new moon. So very interesting. Again, we do have that square from Saturn, and it's Venus, the moon and sun are all going to come up and square Saturn. In fact, Saturn's got a lot of squares coming up over the next couple of weeks. I just think these next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit, there's excitement and planning and all this sort of thing. But yeah, there's a little bit of a stick in the mud or a little bit of delays, maybe some setbacks. But yeah, look, don't let that deter you. Sometimes there's obstacles.
Speaking of obstacles, I'm looking at that Pluto's trining Jupiter right there. Power struggles over money or transformation over money. Try for lotto. And if Aries is your rising sign or ascendant, this new moon is going to be happening in your third house. And the third house is the house of short travel, as well as communication and your siblings, your family members, cousins. It can even encompass aunts and uncles as well. So this could be new things that are happening around early education and how you learn. So this is definitely interesting with all those benefics in there, and that Pluto aspect. Now and now I'm focused on it but yeah, it's new things that are happening around the third house issues of early education. It might even be your car. If something new is happening around your car, this might be a time where that shows up.
And if you're a Pisces ascendant, this new moon is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house is our family, most particularly our parents. It is also our home and living situation and real estate matters. So this may have nothing to do with you. It may be to do with your parents. Maybe they're starting something new or got new plans and ideas for something that they want to achieve. It could be something to do with your home and living situation. Maybe you've just signed the lease on a new place, or you're moving into a new place. Maybe you're buying a house. With Jupiter and Venus there, that could certainly be the case. It could be new people coming into the living situation, new things, new beginnings, new starts to do with home and family, real estate matters.
And if you are an Aquarius rising, this is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house is, I call the fun house. It's the house of your hobbies as well as anything you create. So that could include children. Yeah, so these would be starting new seeds around things that you create. So if you are starting a new hobby, this would be planting seeds of maybe getting those things together that you would need to do that hobby. Or even concert tickets. This is places that you would go for concerts or hockey games or, some kind of sports games.
And if you're a Capricorn ascendant, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of illness. It's also service to others and employees. So this could be if you're in a position where you employ people, maybe there's a new employee. It could be if you have a job that involves supervising staff, maybe you have a new subordinate. It can also be tradespeople coming in, somebody that's doing something for you. It's also service to others. And this is a new moon, so it's about new starts and beginnings for those that work for the greater good, doctors, nurses, first responders, etc. Maybe you've been accepted into a course or an academy. Maybe you're starting out on your journey of achieving something to do with that. It's also the house of pets. So for some people, this could be a new animal, which would be rather nice. With illness, well, you do have Jupiter there, and Donna and I did do a video all about what you can expect with Jupiter and Gemini, and we'll put a link to that in the description. But with this one, you might want to be, Jupiter is a benefic, but it can enlarge. So if there is an illness or something, you know, certainly get that checked out. But I mean, both benefics there, you would hope that that would be helpful.
Lots to look forward to. And if you are a Sagittarius rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 7th house. And the 7th house is the house of the one other or any of your committed relationships that you have in your life. It could be a significant person, a doctor, somebody that you have an appointment with. If they wrote it down that they are meeting with you, this is where they would be residing in your chart. This is the one other. So any appointments that you might have, you might be starting to make an appointment if you want to see a particular kind of special doctor. This would be a time that you might, you know, make that appointment, and you might be seeing this come to fruition when it gets to the full moon. So this would be the one other types of things that would be starting new, whether it's a business partner, a relationship partner, or a you know, a partner that or somebody that you are making an appointment with. To be new things coming.
And if you are a Scorpio ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is other people's money. This can include things such as inheritances, loans, debts, taxes, insurances. So it's also the partner's money. So this could be new beginnings to do with a partner's money, whether that's a romantic partner or a business partner. It could be you've applied for a loan and been approved. It could be that you've signed an agreement with somebody to do with finances. Yeah, so new starts, new beginnings to do with those matters. And with both benefics in that house, it's likely to be quite good for you.
And if you are a Libra rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 9th house. And the 9th house, and it has a lot of things with it. It is the house of foreigners, people, things that are far away. This could also be philosophy as well as the esoteric subjects. It can also have to do with publishing, things that are new that you're doing around publishing, if you're publishing something, the law, higher education as well. So these are all new things that are starting around those subjects. And these are the subjects that are the faraway type subjects that are kind of a step up. Even religion, I think, might be starting something new.
And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 10th house. 10th house is the house of career and public reputation. So there may be new beginnings in the workplace. Maybe you started at a new place, or maybe you're occupying a new position. It's also public reputation, which can cover a lot of things. New moons, like this is a new moon in Gemini. In about 6 months, we'll have a full moon in Gemini. It could be that whatever you're doing now has results in 6 months when we have the full moon in Gemini. But yeah, there's a lot of good things there. People generally perceive you to be quite charming because you've got Venus there, probably generous, optimistic, etc., because you've got Jupiter there. So yeah, Nice.
Seeing that square to Saturn, don't have a relationship because you got the South Node in your second house.
Hmm.
That would not be a good thing to have a workplace relationship. I'm thinking. I think it would impact your pocketbook. Anyway, and if you are a Leo rising, and this is going to be happening in your 11th house, and the 11th house is also a nice house. It is a house where it's what that is your hopes and dreams as well as your groups and associations. So this is a really nice house to be starting if you want to do a group activity with your community or even people that are far from your community. This would be a good this would represent that something that's new that is starting around groups that you might be starting, or as well, what is that other? I just said it. Your wishes and your hopes and dreams. So whatever you're trying to hope for and wish for, this might be something that is starting you on that path of bringing you the things that you're wanting to put into motion for the things that you wish for.
And if you are a Cancer ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of our undoing. It's places of confinement, such as hospitals or prisons. It's also places of retreat. It's includes places like monasteries, working behind the scenes. It can be hidden and secret matters. So yeah, there's a bit going on in here. We've got the 5 planets. We've got the sun and moon, which when they're together, that's the new moon. We've also got Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury. So there's a lot going on in this house. So maybe you are doing something behind the scene. For some, because this is a house that can include addictions and such things, that Jupiter there, particularly since it will have had that trine with Pluto too, there could have been a case of excess and going to extremes, and that may actually result in a new start or a new beginning with regard to these matters. Yeah, just watch that Jupiter, and that's something that's going to be there for 13 months. But new starts, new beginnings to do with those matters.
The stone that I have, I know in the United States, there's a lot of people that are having issues with getting over prejudices and biases and that type of thing. And so I wanted to bring a stone. And yes, I have meditated with this the 4 days that to really learn about this stone. This is called Ametrine. It's a good Gemini stone because it's two different colors. It's yellow and purple. So it's amethyst and citrine together. So this is called Ametrine. And it's got the amethyst, this purple part over here, and it's got the yellow part right there. And you can see that it's the same stone. But putting these together, it helps with open-mindedness. This is a good ally to use if you are working with somebody who has a lot of biases and they're stuck by not being able to move on or move past those things. This is the stone that you grab for. It's a great stone for helping you make decisions. It's a great the reason why I like it is this the citrine part, and I can't remember, I can't believe I've not done a spot like this about citrine, but citrine is good for the solar plexus, and that kind of gives you the oomph of what you need to keep going on with your day. The amethyst works on your third eye and your crown, so it has the Mohs hardness of a 7, so that is kind of good for having this as jewelry. If you need this, if you need to get your connect your gut with your head, this is a good stone to use as well. So this is called Ametrine, and I will be doing an article. I know I've been lacking on writing them up, but they're all the information that is needed is I say here in the video. So you can always go back onto these videos and get the information of what they're good for. But this is really good for people who are prejudiced. If I see them on my table and they're just having a hard time getting past certain prejudices that they might have, this is the stone that I use. It's a really good one for that. And it's called Ametrine.
Very nice.
Also good for inspiration and creativity too.
Nice.
Oh, the first aspect we are going to have is Venus is going to square Saturn. And you had alluded to that earlier that this is going to happen. And this is energy. It's somber energy. Um it's gonna ask you to reevaluate any of your love relationships or reevaluate relationships you have as a whole together anyway, because it's Venus is that love and Saturn is that restriction. You feel a lot of restriction with Saturn, so that's where that's what will be occupying your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a square, so it's going to be challenging. All the boring, dutiful things you have to do, it's just not a lot of fun. But, Venus is moving pretty quickly at this time, 124% of its usual speed, so it won't last long. It's wouldn't say fleeting, but it's quick. So you may just be feeling, looking at your single friends and thinking, oh, that looks a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. But there's good things that come from relationships too.
And then the next aspect is going to happen on Sunday. So this is going to happen on the 9th, and that will be Mars will enter Taurus. And when Mars enters Taurus, it's you're adding that drive, that action type of thing. So this would be a great time if you had a new animal, if you had a puppy or whatever, this would be a good time to start working with them. Mars in Taurus, the Taurus is the animalistic type of sign. And Mars is that action. This would be a great time, I think, to get an animal or start working with the animal that you already have, maybe learning new tricks. This is, Mars is that leadership type of energy that you would have, and certainly animals definitely need that. But it's
Yeah.
going to be more steadier. Yeah, Taurus is it's a fixed sign. Mars wants to go, 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 and Taurus is more like you know, let's be able to maintain this go, 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 whatever pace you're setting. So it might be that really fast and then kind of slow it down.
Yeah, Mars is in detriment in this sign. It's ruled by Venus, which is its opposite in a lot of ways. So this is not a sign that Mars can operate as it would wish. It operates differently than expected. So yeah, it can be a little bit challenging. As Donna said, Mars just wants to go, it just wants to move forward. Taurus likes to take its time, and it's ruled by Venus, so it's all about harmony and relationships and that. So it could be a little bit of passive aggressiveness during this. How long is it going to be in there to July 20th, it looks like. So for the next 5 weeks or so, Mars isn't going to be awfully, what's the word, comfortable. So yeah, you may fight against laziness. I have to do all these things, but I can't be bothered. But it will, and you may need to watch wherever Taurus is in your chart, because Mars can bring aggression, fighting. But as I said, rather than somebody calling you out or coming at you directly, it may be more passive aggressive. It may be more hidden. It may not be in the way you expect. It may be like, did they just have a go at me or not? Kind of just different.
They feel more or a more need to work with the land. If you have property or a yard, this might be time where you're really putting a lot of drive into your outside surroundings. And then, but this on the same day, the sun will square Saturn, and that is going to deplete your energy. So that's going to make you feel like, oh, I can't move another barrel full of dirt. I cannot pick up another bushel of tomatoes. I just can't do it. I just have no more energy at all. But this could also be where you're also playing with the duty and the responsibilities, with with that, with, as Linda had said earlier, whenever there's a square involved and Saturn, it's a challenging thing. So you're going to be wondering, should I, mow the lawn, or can I go to the park? It's the same outside type of things, but it's gonna add that that conflictedness that you might have in your day.
Yeah, Saturn can be rather depressing and onerous. You may be feeling a bit down. You've recently had that Venus squaring Saturn, whereas relationships felt like, more of a burden, or you were noticing, what you needed to sacrifice for relationships, generally speaking, or even things that brought you joy. It doesn't necessarily have to be relationships. It might be, yeah, I really enjoy binging all these shows on TV, but I've got to pay all these bills. And, for whatever reason, what usually brings you joy is it's kind of accenting the more, not problematic, but what you need to do to maintain or have those relationships or things that you enjoy. And yeah, and with the sun coming up, you're just not feeling good, feeling maybe a bit defeated, a bit depressed, a bit overworked, or, you may be feeling restrictions more, or limitations.
The next aspect we're going to talk about is going to happen on Tuesday, June 11th. This is one to watch, because Mars, when it's going to square Pluto, and Mars is a malefic. Pluto is, I want to say, also a malefic, only because it's an outer planet, and you never know really how they're going to act. But Pluto has the capability of transforming, and Mars is going to have is that aggression and drive. This is the day where we're going to have an opportunity for free will. When you have power struggles with the malefic, that could be very challenging to have. And this is a square aspect. So this is a challenge, as Linda had alluded to earlier. But it is also capable of transformation. So beware of your surroundings. Beware of the power struggles that are in your area. Also, as well as the good thing that it can be used for is for positive change. If you're looking for positive change, it would be very hard to do it with a square, but this could also help with the any kind of change that you might need in your life. Granted, it's going to be difficult to accomplish that, but Pluto is a transformational type of planet, so have that in your mind.
Yeah, I see Mars square Pluto and I kind of just think explosive. And it could be explosive, whether on a world stage or individual circumstances. Having a look at where Aquarius, where Pluto is, and Taurus, where Mars are in your natal chart, will give you some indication of what you could expect issues to cause or be from. If you can find that out, what houses they are, and if you're not 100% sure about houses, if you have a look at our ascendant, why listen to the ascendant sign? We do go through the houses there and explain that. So, but yeah, this could be power struggles. It could be transformative, putting that energy into action. It could just be exhausting too, depending on where you're trying to put that Mars power. And that Mars isn't strong. It is in Taurus. It's in a sign that it's in detriment in. It's not working as expected. It's ruled by Venus. Yeah. And Pluto's just kind of, beating it up with this square. So not to say that it's all going to be doom and gloom for everybody, but, it's, even when it's used positively, I think it could be exhausting.
I agree. And then the next following day, on Wednesday, June 12th, Mercury will square Saturn. And again, we're doing that square, that square aspect. And with this, it's possible to do serious work. it's a good time to have those hard conversations as well. This is what it's asking, and those will be a challenge. They will definitely be a challenge, but it's looking for the detail. And the Mercury and Saturn, and Saturn is saying, I need those details before we can move on with this project. So you're gonna have to like stop what you're doing, go get your correct figures and add those into the problem, and work it from there. So this is definitely going to be a challenging day, I would think. But or some aspect might, it might not be, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, but this definitely could have some challenges in that day.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mercury square Saturn, conservative thinking, limited thinking, limitations in thinking, restrictions in thinking, communications. Mercury is in Gemini, a sign that it rules, so it's doing well there. It is combust the sun, but because it's in its own sign, it's not said to suffer as much, but it is invisible at this time. It can't be seen because it's too close to the sun. The sun overshadows it, so it's interesting. It's also interesting that Saturn is in Pisces, which is a sign that Mercury is in its fall and detriment. So I almost wonder if these restrictions, these exacting standards that maybe Saturn is requiring of Mercury may also be a little flawed, because, or at least not to Mercury's benefit, because it's coming from Saturn in a sign that's the detriment and fall of Mercury. So it will be interesting to see. Saturn's in the superior position, so it will be very interesting. And yeah, hopefully after this, I think that's the last of the Saturn squares for a while, so, or squares to Saturn, because we will have had the moon, the sun, Venus, and now Mercury squaring Saturn. So it may just be a very, what's the word? Not depressing week, but kind of a trying week for many people.
I can see that.
And then we've got that Mars square Pluto as well. It's like, yay.
Yeah, I was looking at the astrology of that. Anyway, Mercury, the next aspect we're going to talk about is going to happen on Friday, and that will be when Mercury will conjunct the sun. And this is said to have, Linda, as you have said it before, this is when the planet has the king's ear. So conversations are going back and forth. What is this new cycle going to start? What are we going to accomplish? What are we working towards? This is going to be a good time to be thinking about those types of things. This is not time for action yet. This is just, the conversation is just getting started with the sun, and how it's what will be the plan for moving forward with this.
Yeah, the Cazimi. Yeah, it's like an aha moment. And I mean, at this time, Mercury is going to be quite powerful. It's in its own sign, and it's conjunct the sun, that Cazimi, which a lot of people believe gives it special powers, kind of enhances whatever the planet that's conjuncting the sun, whatever it signifies, is said to be enhanced. I like what the medievals say about the Cazimi, which is it's like a sick man on his bed, and maybe he was going to die, but at this time he's kind of made a recovery. He's not at full health, but he's certainly what's the word, I can't think of the phrase, but he's certainly turned a corner. He's made an improvement. So yeah, it's Mercury will soon go on to conjoin or be conjunct with Venus, which will be nice. Yeah, I think this is nice. As Donna said, not necessarily a time to be doing anything at this moment, because once Mercury gets past the sun, it will be combust and under the beams for a while yet. So good for behind the scenes planning, scheming, just doing things behind the scenes, kind of hidden work.
I was just thinking that. Unless you're doing something electional, then it might be good for if you're like starting something to have it come to fruition as far as mercurial things. So yeah, if you're working with mercurial herbs, be a good time to start with them.
Yeah, could be interesting.
As I need to make more rosemary, whatever. And then the next aspect we are going to be talking about will happen on Sunday, June 16th, and this will be Venus will square Neptune. Oh, and this is a dreamy type of love. This might be a love relationship type manifestation of an aspect where you're not really seeing the love for what it really is. This is rose-colored glasses, it seems to me.
Mm.
uh this is you could end up with the square, as Linda had said earlier. Squares are challenging. This could be where you are disappointed in love relationships. You might take the rose colored glasses off and go, oh gosh, I didn't see that before. And this might be a time where you see and are disappointed with what you are seeing. So it's not exactly good. This could inspire you to be more creative. So that's one of the good aspects of this. This is a good time for creativity, and it's asking you to do something. So a square means action. A square means you got to do something to release this tension. So it might be you're going to an avenue in your relationship where you're being more creative about it to get out of a rut you might be in.
Yeah, Venus square Neptune, very much rose-colored glasses. I think more a case of allowing yourself to be swept away rather than maybe disillusionment at this time. Maybe there will be disillusionment, but I think more likely to be swept away at this time, maybe not seeing things clearly in relationships. We also have Mercury moving up very close at the same degree as Venus. I see, particularly in Gemini, Mercury and Venus together. That's very flirty, very chatty, very just a smooth talker, a charmer. And yeah, I think it's very easy to just get swept away at this time. Maybe just an idea to keep an idea. What do they say? Not just what they say, what they do as well. So it's all very well people saying, this, that, and the other. Do their actions actually match up? Maybe something to be aware of at this time, that you may be a little bit more susceptible to being swept off your feet by a Casanova, or whatever the female version of a Casanova is.
And then you might as well just bring out your journal and keep it out for a while, because Venus will change signs and it's going to move into Cancer on June 17th. And when Venus moves into Cancer, this is a time where she's going to be more emotional. She feels all the feels. So this is for sure an emotional Venus that we're looking at when she moves into Cancer. And as I've always said, anytime a planet moves a sign, journal, because if this happens in a significant house where right now it looks like it's in the fourth house, but it could be moving into the seventh house. And so you might have a Venusian type activity that's going on in the seventh house or in the 10th house, or any of the houses when Venus moves into there, it's bringing a benefit into whatever house that is for you.
Yeah, Venus is a benefic. I kind of think of Venus in Cancer as very much a homebody. It is a cardinal sign, so it's not shy about initiating and reaching out to others. It is a water sign, so there's your emotional component. Yeah, just very homey. As Donna said, it's a benefic, so it should bring good things. So the people and topics associated with wherever Cancer are in your natal chart may be quite pleasant over the month or so that it's there. It will be there until, it looks like, July 11th.
Almost a full month. And then Mercury is going to square Neptune. That is going to bring about secrets and mysteries. And this is a good time that you would be able to trust your gut, and your intuition will be up as well as in conversation. This is a good time for being able to trust your gut. This is, your sensitivities are up with when in conversation with people. You'll be able to tell, hopefully. I would listen to your gut. Pay attention.
I'm not so sure about that myself. I think it's very easy to be taken in at this time. It's a square. I think it could be very idealistic, and as you said, squares can ask us to take action. I think that would be a positive manifestation of this, taking action, arousing speech, something that gets you excited and motivated for some idealistic cause. But I think it's very easy to be deceived at this time, because Neptune is all about, what am I not seeing? It's very cloudy, can be a bit murky, can be just downright deceptive. With communications, which is Mercury, of course, and particularly since we've just had this Venus square Neptune, I think it's not that it necessarily will happen with the same people or the same topics, but yeah, I think it's very easy to hear what we want to hear at this time, rather than what's actually being said, or not reading between the lines. I would be cautious about that. Could be good for creativity. I'm not sure about hunches, maybe, but I think it's very easy to talk yourself into thinking that, oh, they meant this. It's very easy to and because that Mercury, even though it is in its own sign, it's just about to leave that sign. It's burnt up by the sun, or it's hidden by the sun. I'm not so sure about that myself.
So sure about
Trusting your gut.
You think that your gut would deceive you?
I
Probably
think
not.
it's possible to. I think Mercury square Neptune, I think it's easy to be deceived by words at this time. I think you could also be inspired, but I think that's just my take on it. But yeah.
The next aspect is going to happen on the same day. Is that the same day? 17th? Yeah, there's a lot of aspects that day.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, when Mercury enters Cancer, it's following Venus right in there. So it's before we had a lot of Taurus buildup, then we had a lot of Gemini. We're working on getting a lot of Cancer buildup. So Mercury entering Cancer, of course, get out your journal. It is a good day to journal. This is going to be the focus house, where new things are going to be happening in the house, wherever Cancer is in your chart. And when Mercury enters Cancer, it is more, as Linda says, chatty. It's going to be more of the emotional type of conversations you're going to have.
Mercury is going to lose some power by moving into Cancer. When it was in Gemini, it was at least in its own sign. Now it's lost that protection. When a planet is in its own sign, it's like it's in its own home, and it has the tools and resources that it needs. It's going to lose some of that by moving into Cancer. And it's also it's combusts the sun, actually. It's within 8 degrees, so it's like burnt up by the sun. So it's still hidden. Good for, maybe doing things behind the scenes. Moving up quickly to that Venus. So, probably thinking more about romance than anything else. It's had that square to Neptune previous that same day. Yeah, I think. But, it's going to be there for probably a good 3 weeks at least. So wherever Cancer is in your natal chart, the people and topics associated with that house, You're going to be thinking, communicating, learning more about those people and topics associated with that house.
And then later on that same day, this is the fourth aspect we're having, Mercury will conjunct Venus. And as I was talking about earlier, those love conversations, this is if you have a toddler or a baby, this would be a time where they are expressing I love yous, those verbal I love yous. So this, or if you are in a relationship where you're looking for that, this might be the time you hear it. When Mercury conjuncts Venus, this is an opportunity. This is the blending of energies. Mercury is communication. Venus is our love, the love planet. I think it's a very nice aspect. I look forward to this one all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Mercury conjoining Venus, very nice. Talking about relationships, what we love, not just who we love, but also, what activities bring us joy, beauty, art, what we value. So yeah, very nice. Both Venus and Mercury combust the sun at this time. So, some of these conversations, who we're conversing with, romantically at this time may be a little bit hidden. Maybe you're keeping it very private at this time. Maybe it's very new. But yeah, look, nice combination. But it is, combusts the sun, so hidden, not visible, because both Venus and Mercury aren't visible at this time. They're too close to the sun. They're kind of burnt up. They're overshadowed.
And then the next aspect we're going to talk about is, this happens a couple of days later. On June 20th, on Thursday, the sun will square Neptune. And this is an opportunity this is where I see the more deception taking place. This is where I see that you could very easily be deceived. You will not see, or you are not likely to see where people are deceiving you. This is the aspect where I saw that. It's going to be low energy. It's also beware with the sun squaring Neptune. This is an opportunity where allergies might arise. So I said something about earlier with the moon mansion where the medicine might not work as well. This might be the day where that crops up. This is an opportunity for medications to not work as well as they should.
Yeah. I was thinking when you were talking about that before, I think even without this moon mansion, that's something that I think you've mentioned before about medicines might not take. Is that right? Or am I remembering
Yeah,
that? Just generally speaking, and
that's what they.
the fact that with this moon mansion too, maybe even more so. Interesting. Yeah, I
So
think
that's June 20th.
hmm, I think at this time, I think we're probably, from my perspective, maybe deluding yourself or kind of lying to yourself, deceiving yourself in some way. Certainly low energy, that Neptune can dissipate that vital force. So yeah, and maybe that, yeah. Or could it also be that medicines did it say that the medicines wouldn't take, I suppose?
Or you could develop an allergy to them.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. But, it's the sun, so it's going to move quickly. It's only really a day or so that you need to worry about this. And I mean, Venus and Mercury are moving very fast at this time too. And when they have what do you call it? Their square with Neptune as well. So these are, quick moving transits. So that's probably just as well. But yeah, I think it's easy to deceive yourself at this time.
And the moon, Mercury, and Venus are all out of declination. So they're all
Mm,
out of bounds. So,
yeah.
and then the next aspect will, as I was saying earlier, this is we're gonna we had our focus on Taurus, then it went to Gemini, and now it's going to Cancer. So the sun is jumping into Cancer. So again, get out your journal. This is a good day to. This is when the Cancer house is being spotlighted. That when the sun moves into a new sign, the sun is kind of saying, okay, this is where we're going to be shining our focus on. And in June, this is a time where it's the hot part of the year when we're up here in the northern hemisphere. That's what I was trying to say. So I think we've already planted seeds as far as like literally in the ground. But this is, when new things are happening in the around those lunar things. This is Cancer is the sign, the planet that rules Cancer is the moon. So I would not think that the moon is going to be far out of having its say in when the sun is in this sign.
Yeah, this is the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So yeah, shortest day of the year here, longest day of the year up there. That's right, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yeah, so happy birthday for our Cancer suns. As Donna said, the sun shines a spotlight on the people and topics associated with wherever Cancer is in your natal charts. And, with Venus and Mercury there as well, should be a lot of communications, maybe a lot of socializing. So, yeah. And once you pass all that, well, it was when they were in Gemini that they were squaring Neptune and had that drama with Saturn previous to that. This is, they've cleared those two hurdles. So, yeah, things should be starting to settle down and be a little bit more enjoyable.
And we are at the full moon in Capricorn. So this is when all those things that we were starting 6 months ago, when the sun went into Capricorn, this is when all those things should be coming to fruition. It's going to be happening on Friday. Very nice. On the 21st.
Full moons, all about harvest, high points, sometimes endings. This full moon is in Capricorn. So Saturn is the ruler of this full moon, and it will be by sextile, by sign, so that can lend assistance. The full moon is opposed by Mercury and Venus. Jupiter can't see it, which is a shame. It's an aversion, and it is trined by Mars. So it'd be interesting.
Pluto can't see it either, which is nice.
That is nice. Yes. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that, I suppose.
Close sextile between Mars and Mercury. Ugh, fighting words will be coming soon to the house near you. Hopefully not yours. Um, yeah. So that is the how all the aspects turn out for this new moon in Gemini. And Linda, what are you doing? Are you you are back on top of the little reels.
Yeah, I'm not doing any
Where can
reading.
people get a hold of?
Yeah, I'm not doing any readings till September at least. But I am at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, though I haven't been on Instagram for a while. Been pretty slack. Yeah. And Donna, where can people find you and what are you offering?
You can find me at donnabastrology.com. I am offering natal readings, year ahead readings, electional horary, medical, as well as I do and work with crystals for energy healing. So that is where you can find me, and you can write to me at donnabarconsulting@gmail.com if you want to get a hold of me and set up an appointment.
So thank you for listening. We hope that the new moon is a good one for you. And yeah, thanks for your likes and your comments and your shares. And yeah, if you're curious what Jupiter is going to do for you over the next 13 months, make sure to check out the Jupiter in Gemini through the natal houses. That's on the website. Well, not on the website, it's on YouTube. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.